since it's another day, billions will kneel and pray. Anything to aid escape from the world so cold and gray.
It's a real good boy.
This is the Bones and Tubs podcast. For those of you who listened before, welcome back. For those of you who never listened, welcome. We are dedicated to giving a voice to the voiceless here. Every year, tens of dozens of people around the world are harassed and bullied for being hobosexuals, people that are only attracted to the homeless.
Yeah.
And we call for it to stop.
Yeah.
They're people too.
We won't stand for it. If you love, whether it be Rufus or Willie or Toothless Bob, that's your business. It's not anybody else's.
There's a guy we work with, I've seen him our days off, that he only spends his time jerking off on homeless people's feet. And that's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, what he does in his free time is his own business.
I mean, I'm sure he gives money to the homeless people for doing it, so I don't see what the problem is.
Everybody gets paid, everybody gets laid.
I like getting that money.
I like the fruit lotion.
No,
we're not really.
We're kidding.
It's fake. Fake news.
Homosexual is fake. And
I
hope. Oh shit!
Yeah.
Did I just create a new fetish?
Somebody got
or
pissed.
You created a new fetish, I should say. No, folks, we are the Bones and Tubs show. We are the conspiracy guys. We do all the conspiracies. We run the gamut on the conspiracies. We talk about all those deep state, secret, cult situations that you may or may not know about, and we try to, shine some light on them for you guys.
We also try to get you to realize that you don't need the government.
Yeah.
And talk about things occult, stuff like that.
Fuck the government.
Yeah.
And but today's show really isn't about the government.
No, it's not, but
it's about shit. Here's the thing. If we're capitalists, we have to shine light on shitty capitalist practices.
For sure.
And today's episode's about that. And like I was telling my partner before we started the show, possibly one of the most depressing fucking subjects I've ever had to research for this show.
I know I developed some kind of PTSD from watching those videos.
But today's episode is about factory farming. I think a few people suggested this topic for us. I know for a fact Agros Girl did.
Yes.
So thank you, Agros Girl, for suggesting this topic for us today.
One of our juicy Patreon supporters.
And if you're not a Patreon supporter, get on that boat. You get that raw episode. You get a little bit more. You get them bumper stickers and them t-shirts and whatnot.
2 new fresh bumper sticker designs that are coming to us in the mail right now. They're up on our Instagram page, instagram.com/bonesandtubs and facebook.com/bonesandtubs. We haven't really talked about this yet, but I would assume we already know we're sending them out to the Patreon subscribers.
Mm-hmm.
But we're also probably going to put out a thing to let them know, like, be aware for giveaways.
Yeah.
We're going to have a few
definitely.
giveaways, some of that merch sauce.
Yeah. But yeah, so if you haven't gone over that Patreon page, go ahead, because you know what? You don't have to listen to shitty-ass commercials. You just have to listen to us talk about Patreon for like a minute.
Yeah, if that.
Per episode. But anyways, back to our subject of the day. That is factory farming. Anybody out there that doesn't understand the nomenclature, factory farming is basically the industrial model for farming and raising livestock in a very industrial
concentration style
setting, and it is fucking horrible.
Yeah, it's disgusting. If you are into the was it masochism, where you get hurt, you like getting hurt?
Yeah.
If you're a masochist, you can go over to YouTube and just type in factory farming and eat your fucking heart out.
Yeah, as I say, the possibilities are endless.
They got dudes bashing baby pigs to death.
Yeah.
Pulling their teeth out. Mm-hmm. Throwing chickens against walls, kicking, really a sadistic shit.
I mean, I would never put stock in the PETA because fuck them, but there's plenty of videos out there of the terrible practices that go on in these farms.
I actually made a decent note about PETA earlier. They're one of the largest contributors to this hidden camera footage behind the walls of factory farms, but they were also the largest committer of euthanasia.
Yeah.
In the United States, where they get all these dogs and cats, strays, and then they just fucking kill them.
It doesn't even have to be strays. Sometimes they just kidnap people's pets.
Jesus Christ.
And kill them. Yeah, I saw something about that.
Some weird shit, man. Some weird shit.
Yeah. But yeah, so factory farming. I guess how we're going to run this down is my partner is going to go through the history and the practices.
Brief history, little description, it's pretty cut and dry.
And then I'm going to take over and try to apply some solutions to this that can make at least some people happy. Because the thing is, at the end of the day, when you start doing the legwork on it, you find out there's still a schism between, because there's people like, if you want to lump people into there's two categories. There's people who apparently are just okay with factory farming, and then there's people who are not okay. I assume that anybody who's theoretically either, okay with it, either works in the field or makes money off of it.
Or I think there's a third category of the largest majority don't even know what it's about.
As I say, that's probably a fair amount of people. But the thing is I'm putting some of the blame at their feet because the knowledge is out there.
Right.
You can't put blinders on this. You're just as culpable as they are if you haven't educated yourself on it.
Right.
And the problem is that on the other side of it, there's a lot of, from what I found on doing my research, there's a lot of infighting between two camps of people. There's the PETA vegan types who are like, well, the only solution is to end all farming.
Yeah, that sounds great.
All animal husbandry,
They didn't
and
think about that.
Stop eating meat.
They didn't think about that, did they?
What's that?
What would happen if they ended farming?
Well, that too.
I mean, scrub bulls.
Yeah.
So what these animals turn into in the wild.
So you have that camp in the against, but then you have the other camp, which is where I feel I'm at, where I'm okay with eating meat, but we need to be more conscionable about where we're sourcing our meat from, and we need to take a step up in figuring out how to fix it because it's a problem.
Right. Just like everything else, I feel like there's too much laziness going on. People are just zombies. So here you go. We'll give you the rundown. You don't have to watch any animals get beat to death or, tortured. We did it for you.
Yeah.
Because we love you.
Yeah.
Factory farming was started in America sometime in the 1800s, and I wrote down here that it's doubled in scope 4 times since its inception. 1820 to 1920, it doubled. 1920 to 1950, it doubled again. 1950 to 1965, double. And 1965-1975, double. Generally, it was keeping pace with other forms of industrialization. Basically, everything around us has been just becoming changed for profit.
Yeah.
Everything else be damned. These institutions are really fucking crazy. I think the best example of what they are was already given on the Joe Rogan podcast, where he was talking about factory farming chickens, where they basically shove all these chickens into coops, right? So much so they can't even walk around.
Yeah.
They're just stuffed in there. And then they're stacked like batteries on top of each other, and they're grown, and they really are batteries.
Yeah.
We grow them, we charge the batteries until they have enough protein for us, and then we consume the battery.
Yeah.
Like it's just some sort of commodity. And I want to say this ahead of time too. I'm not an animal hugger by any means. I mean, I love animals, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I don't advocate torture.
No.
But I also don't think we should not eat meat, because that's just silly.
There's ethical ways to go about it, and we'll talk about that here in a little bit.
For the vegans that are going to be trolling, I got a quote from one of our coworkers.
Oh, okay.
The Heartman posted on Instagram, "Before you judge someone else, remember, you are probably a piece of shit."
Yeah.
It's a good piece of advice to live by.
Yeah.
But anyway, these factory farms are just the worst possible living conditions. I mean, it's...
Think concentration camps for animals.
Exactly. They're beaten, kicked. They're forced to live in cramped conditions. And then, when they first started doing it, before they realized putting all these animals together in these tight, confined spaces was going to create disease, they started pumping them full of antibiotics. Their food full of antibiotics, which then translates to every time you're eating that meat, you're getting a dose of antibiotics.
Yeah. And it's had consequences.
And it could be caused, I said, World Health Organization is worried about it being one of the largest contributors to a plague. Because, you keep getting these dosed antibiotics, the MRSAs.
Yeah.
All these other antibacterial resistant strains are out there now. It also attracts some of the most depraved and fucked up people I've seen. I'm sure there's plenty of people that work in these things that are like us. They hate their jobs.
And see, the thing is that's another aspect of it, and that's exploitation of cheap labor.
Right.
Low income people being put into these places with little training, and that's a whole other aspect of the factory farming thing I was watching a video about too.
Yeah. We've already mentioned the violence, but there's plenty of that you can go view on YouTube of Hidden Camera. I also found some videos of sexual abuse, which is pretty fucking crazy to think about. For some reason, my mind didn't even go there.
Ew.
Hormel employees. So some of that pork you were eating was getting porked.
Ew.
Keep that in mind when you fry that bacon.
I never thought of that.
I know, right? But now you think about it, you're like, well, that makes sense.
Oh, man.
So violence, torture, sexual abuse. We already talked about the deplorable living conditions. And basically, it all came about in response to fast food industry, really.
I'd say fast food and a higher demand for meat.
Right.
I would say.
But every time that this, you can look on a graph of the doubling, 1820 to present day, it is almost, it's virtually annihilated the actual farming industry. Like,
oh yeah,
family farming.
Oh, definitively. I could give you firsthand experience on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, my grandmother, she was a farmer her entire life. And that's where, like, I've come up against people, like, where the schism happens, where vegans are like, well, we shouldn't do this at all, and da-da-da-da, it's all cruel. Listen, I grew up on a farm, and I can tell you right now, and I worked in a slaughterhouse, a small slaughterhouse. I can tell you right now, you can't compare the two.
No
you
fucking
really,
way.
You really fucking can't. My grandma was a dairy farmer. I've watched the whole operation. She treated her animals amazingly. I don't even know how else to put it.
Right.
They were well fed. None of them were skinny. She didn't beat them. So when I see videos like this, it hurts me just as much as it hurts anybody else who sees them. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, I'm going to slide around like we always do, but slide into one of my solutions. I only had two. If we could just take it back. Now, I know that not everybody lives in an area where some people live in an apartment, or they live in an area where they can't get an animals.
Yeah.
Right. But if you live in an area where you could get animals, you could raise chickens as pets.
Yeah.
Dr. Doug Hurdy does.
Yeah.
Or did.
Still does.
And they literally are like pets. And in that, where you raise your own animals, you get a deeper connection to the food you eat.
Yeah.
Instead of just getting it off the shelf. You see it as an animal or a pet. You
Yeah.
treat it well. It lives better as a farm animal than it would in nature.
Yeah.
And it dies a quicker, more just death than it would in the nature,
Oh,
too. Because,
yeah.
instead of getting its throat ripped out or shook to death by a predator, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just one real quick,
Oh, yeah.
and it's over with.
Yeah, that's how it was where I worked at. And we didn't do, mass slaughter either.
It was probably like local farmers bringing their shit in, wasn't it?
Yeah. It's more or less what it was.
Yeah.
And, you put them in a pen, they're done.
It's just too easy, at least, from our perspective, because we live in Ohio, that you can go online. It's not that hard at all, or even just word of mouth, find a farmer that sells cattle.
Exactly. And
that's
that
how
is-
we get our beef.
That is a solution, is moving more towards, kind of a subscription service to farmers.
I say there's really nothing more you can say about the history of factory farming. It's just been, the longer it's existed, the more it's become frankenfood.
But and here's the problem is that not only is it, you got to think about the impacts when it comes to the torture and cruelty of animals and having a larger impact on society in general.
Right.
But think about, there's other aspects to it as well. Like one of the video with you sent me.
Oh yeah,
with with animal waste.
The environmental impact is crazy. And this is where I either show my ignorance or I just take my stand. But they listed air quality as a problem. And
yeah.
I don't buy it. Sure, breathability I'm sure is bad. It's probably not great. But I don't buy into the whole greenhouse gas thing.
But you got to think about this. Like they said, asthma levels are higher.
Yeah, for sure.
Because they're when they shoot these, see, they have these giant cesspools outside of these factories, right? And another thing I noticed about these factory farms, they tend to be secluded.
Yeah, they
tend to be away from things.
They put them out of view.
And anybody that tries to go there, they stop them.
Mm-hmm.
So this is what you got to tell yourself. If they're trying to keep people from being able to see these places, how good could it be?
Right. I'll go ahead.
I don't want to draw parallels because I definitely there's a difference between humankind and animal kind. But, if you look at concentration camps and stuff like that, they didn't have them close to cities or anything like that either.
Right.
Because people would know something was up. You know what I mean?
I'll go ahead and post the drone video I sent you earlier. But this guy, he just, Tubbs mentioned the fact that it's hard to get in, if not impossible to get in and view this place. So a guy flies a drone into a Smithfield food factory farm. And it fucked me up when I saw it because of the cesspool. It's like a man-made pond that's just filled with blood, piss, and shit.
And possibly dead pigs.
Probably dead bodies.
They spray it into the cesspool, so it creates water droplets, which obviously some of it's going to evaporate in the air and become a dust.
Right.
And people in the area talk about having asthma and blood pressure problems and stuff like that. That's just science. That's proven. Like you can't refute that kind of shit. And then even like you talked about with the smell and the gases and whatnot. But here's the thing. I like to think it like this.
As far as global warming, I don't buy into that.
But the thing is I like to think is if you're living close enough to something that bad that smells that bad.
Yeah.
Even if it the smell doesn't biologically affect you, it would psychologically affect you, I believe.
The one thing, the environmental impact that I did notice that I do agree with is it has been shown to drastically affect water quality. So any of this shit from the cesspool or the spray runs off into local waterways, it completely contaminates. There's a correlation between parts of, I think it's the Great Lakes, and somewhere near the Panhandle of Florida, and there's 2 more bodies of water where no life exists. There's no more fish, and it's all because of runoff from farms in the area that use this shit to spray on their crops. Which that's another arm, I guess, of a different type of factory farming, but spraying, torture water over genetically modified Franken crops that have been glyphosated out of. We need to just absolutely take a look at everything with our food and take a fucking responsible step back.
Yeah. That, and if you take other human impact when it comes to this stuff, is the fact that the people who work in these industries, they intentionally, they're predators towards low income individuals.
Immigrants and what have you.
Yeah, it's always been like that though. If you've ever read Upton Sinclair's The Jungle, you know that they've always preyed on the most needy in society to do their most dirty work.
Yeah.
I mean, and the thing is, maybe we need a new jungle, because the thing is, it's after The Jungle came out, it completely changed the meat industry. Mm-hmm. And for a while, it actually kind of went back. You had unionized labor. It was a good working quality. You could go work at a meat packing plant and you could be a single income family. You know what I mean?
Right.
But nowadays, that's not how it works anymore.
I think at least in my own echo chamber, it seems like it is making a positive turn, because I was just talking to Agris Girl yesterday about this, and she's talking about getting together with some farmers that she knows in the area and setting up a co-op.
That'd be great.
And I said, well, if you did that, we know where we would shop, and we would shout your name from the mountaintop.
Yeah.
Because like I said, we do our beef from a farmer that we know.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's higher quality beef.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen the farm. They just roam around. Mm-hmm. They're in great condition.
Grass-fed.
Chilling.
Yeah.
They're the kind of cows that dance when they get out of the barn in the wintertime, springtime. They're dancing through the fields. There's a fine line to be drawn between, the vegan life of just saying don't eat animals and release them all into nature, and then having another aspect to deal with of, the scrub bull thing fucked me up because I didn't know about that with the cows.
Yeah.
Where they, was it Australia? I think they had a problem where they released their cattle and they, just like pigs do, they change into their natural form.
Feral again.
Yeah, and they started going into other farms where people still had cattle and they were fucking up the genetics. But then the boars.
Oh.
That shit's fucking,
wild boars
we've
are
got
a
a boar
huge
problem in most of the states.
Yeah.
They're shoot on sight.
It's starting to creep up into Ohio too.
That affects vegans because vegans eat plants. Well, guess what? So do boars. They'll fuck up a crop.
Yeah. We talked about the factory farm. We talked about what it means exactly. Basically, animal concentration camps.
Came from greed.
Yeah, exactly. Instead of changing a lifestyle and culture, because the thing is, the number one solution I saw, and I know this is kind of the more ones because it's telling people what to do.
Yeah.
Number one was to eat less meat.
Right.
Not saying more meat.
I think you
less
could
meat.
Reasonably do that, though. That's what I've done.
Exactly. I did the same thing. I only eat meat once a day now. You know what I mean? I don't consume meat I don't consume meat with every meal.
It's not necessary to eat as much as we do. They said the average American eats between 200 and 250 pounds a year.
That's fucking crazy.
It's a lot of meat.
Yeah. That's the number one thing I saw. But I've seen other things that I think would help a lot, too. One thing I saw was to put a ban on GMO crops.
Yeah, that would work.
Because it would automatically change farmers' abilities to feed their animals, so they wouldn't breed as many animals anymore, because you wouldn't have as much of a... Because these GMO crops are meant for high yield. That's the big concern.
Low quality, chemicalized,
So
high yield.
that was one solution I saw. Another one I saw was making it... And this is the thing. I don't know how much I agree with this one, because I'm not a big law guy.
Yeah.
But it's requiring farmers to grow half the grain required for their animals.
Yeah, law.
See, yeah, that's the thing. But they said it would skirt tail a lot of the problems that come with dealing with these industrial-sized agricultural scales when it comes to growing crops and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because these farmers would be required to grow half of their stuff.
One of the things, too, I wanted to mention real quick that I'm not sure, I didn't know about this, so I don't know if anyone else does, but the next step that's being taken right now by the greedy factory farm owners / fast food owners / people that produce meat for money.
/ Monsanto.
Right. Did you know that most of the meat you get in fast food is not actually fully meat?
Yeah, it's filled with fillers and stuff like that.
I knew about the fillers.
Yeah.
But it's like a mainstay now where they change their recipe, quote unquote, with an advertising, push to be healthier. When really it's just they have, over the last 10 years or so, they've increased the amount of soy or textured vegetable protein.
Yeah.
And it's like you're paying the same price that's already government subsidized for beef or chicken or whatever it is, and you're getting fed soy.
So another solution I saw, and I like this one the best, and it goes hand in hand with the eat less meat one, right? Was pastoral farming. So going back to the original model of basically grass feeding and big space living, right?
Yeah.
Now, like I said, we'd have to take a stand to eat less meat, because in pastoral farming, where you have these factory farms that can farm 100,000 to 250,000 chickens at a time, you might do 10,000. But I think it brings it back in the hands of, like, instead of these big industrial farms, it goes back to families, because that's the problem is that you don't have these family operations anymore to do this stuff. You know what I mean?
I think the factory farming thing, too, just to take a conspiratorial stab at it, is all part of the Agenda 21. Because if it gets rid of family farming, it ends independence outside of their megacities.
Yeah.
So these farmers have to go sell the farm and then move in town.
Yeah.
It's
totally.
It's hurting people inward.
Yeah. So another solution I saw was to ban giving animals antibiotics.
Yeah.
Because then it would make it so that farmers had to treat their animals on an individual basis again, and thus lead into more likely than pastoral farming.
Yeah,
because the problem is, if you get rid of antibiotics, you can't cramp them in together like that anymore. They'd have to be spread out.
That's super important anyway with the rise of MRSA and all those other infections.
Exactly.
Because you're going to end up getting some shit that'll kill you that you can't get rid of.
Yeah. And plus, another thing I saw, like, whether it be growing half the crops in on the land that you're on, another big thing with that was the fact that it would end a lot of the transportations of fertilizers and stuff like that from one place to another. And they said that's a big cause of disease and stuff like that. They said the farmers, if they had to grow their own crops, would have to invariably use their own fertilizer to do it.
Right.
So
make it more natural again.
Yeah.
Can I share my last solution, or did you have more?
No, you go ahead.
So, I wrote down. Oh, I shouldn't say my last solution. I had two. One is the vegan way, which I do not advocate, which is to stop eating meat entirely. But that gave me the idea for the one that I feel is the best solution, at least in my mind, the one I practice. Like you said, it's all about your own personal health too. If you don't give a fuck about what these people are doing to animals, and you don't give a fuck about any of that, I mean, you should at least care about yourself.
Yeah.
So you would think that you would want to have higher quality food that you're putting in your mouth. You know what I mean? Do a tiny bit of research when you're walking through the fucking grocery store, We've already talked about, and I just found this through, I haven't done as much research as I wanted to do for this show, but just in the amount of time I was able to cram, I found out that factory farmers were fucking pigs at Hormel.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, do a little bit of research. Don't buy meat from factory farming companies. It's too easy. I have to assume in most areas of the United States, probably around the world, that you could find a farmer that sells beef or chicken or pig. I mean, there's 3 that we use.
Yeah.
Or 2, I should say. We don't do it for chicken, but be more responsible with what you buy. That's it right there. If you stop paying money to these fucking corporations, they will cease to exist.
Yeah.
Or they will be forced to change their practices.
Exactly.
They only give a fuck about money. And the reason why they've been the mainstay of the United States right now is because no one's paying attention.
Yeah.
Wake up.
Yeah. There's a reason they keep their operations away from the public eye.
Right. It's so much cheaper, too.
Yeah.
To just get meat from a farmer. Mm-hmm. You pay it all up front. You're not paying over the long term. You're paying more to get it at a store, but higher quality, healthier, better raised. Fucking starve the beast.
Plus, you don't need 250 pounds of meat a year?
I don't think you need that much meat.
No.
I mean, I'm not here to tell you how to live your fucking life. If you want to eat 300 pounds of meat a year, go ahead.
But the average,
I'm not mad at you.
The average human only needs what, I think it's 50 grams of protein a day or something like that?
Right. And I mean, I eat more when I work out. I get that.
Yeah.
I get it. And I'm not ever going to tell somebody how much they should or shouldn't eat, and I would never advocate for a law saying that, but Just wake up, man.
I think in a roundabout way, it goes back to our original like philosophy of this show and between ourselves is that the government's okay with this.
Yeah.
They sign off on this.
Right.
Ergo, we're not okay with it.
No.
Because it's not okay.
Fuck the government.
Because it's something that they're okay with.
Yeah.
It's something that FDA is okay with.
The FDA needs to be burnt to the ground.
Yeah, it's something that the Department of Agriculture is okay with. Or I should say the Department of Monsanto, because that's really what they are.
Right.
At this point. It baffles me how much corruption goes on when it comes to a big corporation like Monsanto or anybody else being able to get away with the things that they do and nobody doing anything about it in the government.
If you listen to this show, you know, and you're probably on the same fucking train car that I'm on. I believe that the people in power are all about eugenics. They want you dead. They want you to die.
Yeah.
So don't use their fucking shit.
Yeah.
You know? Shop outside of the system.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know. It's just too easy. I did want to mention Aero Farms. Did you see those in your course of research?
No, I didn't.
This is fucking cool.
Okay.
It doesn't have to do with meat, but it does have to do with farming.
Okay.
And they're popping up throughout the United States. I think it's a Canadian-owned company. Aero, spelled A-E-R-O.
Yeah.
They do aeroponic gardening. And what they do is they go into cities that have, like, industrial sectors that have been shut down. They got all these abandoned buildings. One of the coolest ones I saw that they're building right now is an abandoned steel factory. And what they do is they take everything out, clean it up, and then they stack plants.
Yeah.
Like greens, vegetables, and whatever. And it's all done with broad spectrum LED lighting, so it's low cost.
Yeah.
They mist the nutrients onto the roots, which takes like 75 or 80% less water than normal to get the same amount of benefit. And they're starting to supply local shops in the area with their
That's awesome.
Aero Farm vegetables.
Yeah.
So I think that's fucking awesome. That goes right along the same vein of shopping local. You know what I mean?
I think that's I don't know if we really like taught that in the solutions, but I think that's definitively, possibly, around here, around anywhere you go, the most simple solution. Maybe in big cities it's a different story, but
even in big city, at least for the vegetables, they're not using any pesticides or herbicides.
I think the problem is that, like, if you look at other cultures who don't have it as good as we do, they put more saccharicity in the food they eat.
Right.
You know, they find food to be on par with a lot of other sacred things. I don't think we find our food, I don't think we consider our food as sacred.
We don't have a relationship with it.
Exactly. And I think that's where we lost it. We need to go back with having a in-depth relationship with what we're eating instead of going out and buying a bag of Doritos and pounding them.
Right.
You want to know where the fuck that Dorito shit came from.
I started this after the 3-day juice fast. I decided that I'm going to have one cheat day a week.
Yeah.
That's my maximum. Mm-hmm. It's not a mainstay, but I'm not going to put anything in my body I don't know what it is.
Yeah. That's
How
smart.
hard is that? You know? Yeah. It's not that hard. Shouldn't be.
If something has, like, more than 20 ingredients in it.
Things you can't find in a dictionary.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's simple. You know what I mean? If something has more than 20 ingredients in it, you need to seriously consider amending what you're eating.
I saw an argument yesterday, just to take it off the rails. George Takei, gay,
dude, George Takei,
homosexual.
Just call him Sulu. It makes it easier.
Ooh. He posted a video talking about how MSG wasn't bad for you. Yeah, I know. I didn't look into it, but I saw it, and the argument was that...
Was it racist if you were against MSG?
No. I was waiting for it. That's why I watched it.
Yeah.
But they were just saying that it wasn't bad for you. And I was like, I don't know. I don't know about that.
Why are you putting your 2 cents on MSG, George Takei?
Yeah, who's paying you, you fucking beautiful fuck?
Who put you in there, Mr. Sulu? Who gave you the money?
Beam me up with that big old dollar dick.
Yeah, right?
Whatever.
Exactly.
I just want to be left alone.
Yeah.
I want to eat healthy. I want to be healthy. I want to be happy. I don't want to fuck anybody over.
Yeah.
Is that so hard to do?
No.
Shouldn't be.
No, it's not. You know, I would say that is, I don't want to wrap it up yet because I feel like we still got a few minutes left.
Oh, yeah, we still got some there.
But what do you want to do? Like, we could do, so the whole Iran thing. So you watched the interview, right? Or some of it?
Yeah, I got a notification from Bones and Tubbs YouTube channel, which is now sadly following the White House on YouTube.
Okay.
But I got a notification yesterday that Trump was going to go live, which, you know, he was giving his speech about his newest fucking nonsense, which
Yeah.
is to end the Iran nuclear deal, which, whatever, it's probably a shitty deal. They probably got actual cash and they're probably still developing nuclear weapons. But again, I hate both of you.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Just leave us all alone.
You're both awful.
You're both terrible people.
Yeah.
And it was kind of gross. And I'm sure that they've all been this way, but at the end of his speech, he spoke directly to the people of Iran. You know, talking about how they came from an ancient land and how most of them had not grown up not knowing what it was like to have a country where their government was peaceful. And I'm thinking, like, I don't know what it's like to have a government that's peaceful.
Who are you
either.
talking about, sir?
And basically, it was like, to me, my brain automatically decodes these things. We are going to invade Iran eventually, because, I mean, that was on the list. That's one of the last 3 or 4 countries that was on the Project for a New American Century that we haven't invaded yet. The call to the people was to say that we are going to use CIA-funded terrorists on the government employ to start civil war in your country, to destabilize your current administration, just like we did in Syria, just like we've done everywhere else. And basically a nod to his dudes in the industrial military-industrial complex.
You know, I did see something. The president of Iran came on and was talking, did a press conference, and said something along the lines of, I believe, we say death to America, but we haven't done anything to prove we mean it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Way to let's just justify it. That's all the West wants. The West just wants you to blow something up so they can go over there and make you fucking a parking lot.
Do you think, do they think they're above it?
This is why
I'm not, listen everybody, I'm not trying to, put our complex on a pedestal here. But unfortunately, I mean, we like to joke and say,
fuck the government.
But we may not be good at winning wars per se, but we are damn good at fucking killing people and completely destabilizing governments.
Right.
We're really good at that now.
I don't want to say we. The United States government is.
Yeah, they don't win wars. It's not about winning wars. Winning wars means you have to pay people.
It's about perpetual warfare to feed the other industrial fucking machine that just churns out death.
Yeah.
This is why I think anarchy is very important, and people need to look up Mark Passio and realize that government is a fucking useless tool that we don't need anymore.
Yeah. Well, because, if you hear most people who say death to America, they don't actually mean, see, a lot of Americans take it to heart.
Yeah.
And they think they mean, them. Literally, we hate all of you.
Death to Dave.
But no, they just mean to the giant American industrial complex.
The great Satan.
Yeah. The great, giant fuckwad who continues to fucking fuck up everybody's way of life all over the world.
But anyway, I had a dream the other day. It was funny. I was taking, I've been taking that Alpha Brain. I got another sample pack in the mail.
Yeah.
And I was sitting out on this, vast farmland thing. I don't know why. It was to symbolize my stepping away from statist life.
Yeah.
And I was imbibing in things.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, a jet flies over. And I just knew it was a Russian jet. I think it was because before I went to sleep, I read a story about how we got pictures of our Air Force painting jets to look like Russian jets.
Oh, nice.
So I guess that's common practice.
Yeah.
And they admit to that. But anyway, this was a real Russian jet, and somehow I was able to see and communicate with this dude just real briefly. We both kind of saluted each other.
Yeah.
Because while he was going to blow up a military base or the White House or whatever it might be, he knew I wasn't the problem.
Yeah.
And he wasn't going to fuck with me. I wasn't going to fuck with him.
That's good.
But it was very vivid.
Yeah.
Alpha Brain.
Man, that's a crazy-ass dream.
Have you tried those?
No.
Man.
I got to go out on a tractor yesterday. It was fun.
Ooh.
Got out the old Massey Ferguson.
Man feels.
Man, and it feels like, it seems serendipitous that we got the tractor running again the day before we did this episode about factory farming, because the first thing I did when I got it out was I took a tour around the farm on it.
Yeah.
And just felt the wind in my hair as I drove around on Massey Ferguson.
Man. Freedom.
And, yeah. It was a good time, Everybody's just looking at me like I'm weird. See, a lot of guys like driving motorcycles, on highways.
I like driving a tractor.
I like driving tractors on farms.
Yeah.
But,
that thing will still run, too, easily after the EMP, right?
No, it has a battery.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, I could probably get it started without one, but it does have a battery.
we need to just start collecting 1970s microwaves.
Yeah.
Putting essential shit in there. 'Cause you know those are Faraday cages.
Yeah.
We just get like batteries and various other things and just start
Just throw them in there.
sequestering. We could stack them the way factory farms stack chickens.
Oh.
And there's no karma there because it's an inanimate object.
Food for thought today. Old microwaves are Faraday cages.
Yeah. If you are worried about an EMP and want to have some sort of device to, help you along the way of starving to death or, figuring your life out after the EMP blast, you can get a microwave. I only say 1970 microwaves because they were fucking huge.
Yeah.
But any microwave will do. You just stick an precious electronic device in there and it'll be unaffected by the EMP that shuts down everything else.
Nice.
Science.
Science. But yeah, I think that about wraps it up for the show.
It's good. Hopefully it hit all the right topics.
Oh, yeah.
And also hit you right in that Bones and Tubs spot.
Oh, yeah. Before I go, I'd like to say, shout out to all the real farmers out there doing the good work.
Yeah, sweaty work.
Trying to do, I was talking to someone the other day explaining what it meant to be a dairy farmer. And they decided that wasn't the kind of life for them.
Yeah.
Because didn't want to work 7 days a week, upwards of 12 to, 18 hours a day.
Mm-hmm.
Sweat of your brow, but it's not for everybody.
At the end of the day, though, you produced what you got.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't make somebody else rich.
Yeah.
You did what you were meant to do.
Yeah.
I've got 2 calls to action
Okay.
real quick before we jet out of here. The first call is kind of in the same line of things.
Yeah.
I would just like to ask everybody in this summer season that's coming up, or is it here yet?
It's not here yet.
It's coming.
It's coming.
Don't spray any weed killer.
Yeah.
Let your dandelions grow strong and heavy because
Bees need them.
my father-in-law's got 2 beehives going right now. He's got 2 more on the way. He's going to have a total of 4 colonies. And those things are majestic.
And they need those dandelions.
And we need bees because if bees aren't around when they're being killed off by, glyphosate spray,
Yeah.
and, whatever else, if they don't pollinate our food, we'll die.
Yeah.
So that's my first call to action. Let those beautiful lawn herpes grow.
And if you see, and the other thing is, when it comes to bees, I did this a couple years ago. If you see a random hive just start appearing in your yard,
Yeah.
because that happens,
Really?
don't kill them.
Right. Let them.
What you could do is what I did was I called a local apiarist
Yeah.
and told them I had a hive.
Beekeeper, yeah.
Yeah, a beekeeper, and they came and got it.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's all you have to do.
That's it.
Because we need bees.
Didn't cost you anything.
Didn't cost me a
A
thing.
little bit of time.
Yeah,
A little bit of proper husbandry.
yeah.
Look at you taking care of the land,
Stewardship.
not being a dick.
Yeah,
My second call to action, more importantly to the podcast,
yeah.
is anybody listening on an Apple device, I would like for you to please go to iTunes. Give us a 5-star review.
God, that'd be beautiful, wouldn't it?
We are. I was looking at our reviews the other day. We have quite a few great reviews. We're at 5 stars right now.
Yeah,
But I want to get the Bones and Tub show out to more people because I like talking to you people. It's been
and we know you're listening.
I know it's been a blessing to hear from everybody. It makes me feel like I'm doing something good.
We see our downloads. So what you do is you tell a friend, hey, you need to listen to the Bones and Tub show. It'll wake you up.
Right.
Do that work. In all reality, I would almost want you to do that more. I mean, don't get me wrong. I want you to go to Patreon.
Yeah.
And, put $1 in. Throw $1 into the pot.
I'm going to be honest with you. If you put $1 in there, I will personally still send you a bumper sticker.
Yeah.
Because I'm a fucking masochist that way.
Yeah. So, as of right now,
Right.
if we ascend into the stratosphere, I don't know if we can.
I think the higher it goes, we'll just have to pay other people to send them bumper stickers.
Exactly.
You know?
So, but anyways, we love the Patreon contributors, but you know what I love just as much, like you said, the reviews. We love feedback.
I love chatting too.
Yeah, and we've been allowing a chatting. People have been chatting with us.
Oregon
Enjoy
Knife
it.
Guy, I'm still smiling from your conversation. Just
Yeah.
from our brief interaction.
Yana Marie.
Yeah, on point.
Yeah. Keep sending that stuff.
Agris Girl, thank you for the topic.
Yeah.
I also, in the vein of the iTunes, then I'll shut the fuck up. Anybody not listening on an Apple device can go to Stitcher and leave us a review.
Yeah, that works too.
That'd be sweet. Help
Yeah.
spread the message.
Yeah. You tell a friend, and then they tell a friend, and then they tell a friend.
Y'all keep those reviews. Y'all telling more friends you knew you had.
Exactly. Yeah. So we got a lot of topics lined up. We
Oh,
sat
yeah.
down and just wrote a bunch down the other day, and I actually kept the list this time.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be some good. We found. Ooh,
I know.
I'm fucking excited.
It was like we found a tasty bush in the wilderness, and
Yeah.
each berry was its own delicious topic.
We got juggernauts as big as the CIA, and we got fucking deep state shit like Skull and Bones coming up.
Can I tell them about my personal favorite that I'm ready for that's not as exciting as yours?
Okay.
Gaza Strip.
Oh my gosh. Ooh. Ooh, that episode is gonna be so juicy. I almost want to.
Can you hear those stars of David gnashing?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It just we got some crazy fucking episodes. This one was depressing as fuck.
We had to do it, though, because
I know
to do-
exactly.
To do it justice, it's got to be shot down and murdered. You know?
Yeah, we had to expose it. I mean, other people have exposed it, but I feel like on the show, if we're trying to hit everything, we got to hit this too.
Right, right.
We
We have a perspective that no one else will have ever.
Yeah.
Even if they try to steal everything and do it themselves.
Yeah, you're too late.
Yeah.
But we'd like to thank you all for listening. We'd like to thank Ryan Simpson for letting us use his music on the show. Go check us out on Instagram, Facebook. We're on Stitcher, iTunes, Beyond Pod, a bunch of other podcasters I found out about.
Yeah.
It just happens.
Right.
Go check out our webpage. Leave us reviews. Go check out our Patreon if you're feeling froggy.
I still need to get off my lazy ass and revamp the Patreon, but basically, I will, if you're a Patreon subscriber of any dollar amount and you send us a topic, we'll put it on the list.
Yeah.
We're not saying we'll get to it immediately because we got a lot of shit coming up,
Yeah.
but we will definitely we love your input, we love your ideas.
Yeah. So we'd like to thank you all for listening, and we hope you have a good week.
We love your faces.